Totem Animal Reading for June 2022. In this reading, we are going to capture the universal energies, and through the language of the animals, we are going to see where the energies are coming from and where they are guiding us to. The animals give us the strategies to negotiate, survive, and get the maximum benefit from the energies available. In this Totem Animal Reading, we have the East of House of New Beginnings, Porcupine. Porcupine is all about trust and innocence. What happens normally is that when we don't trust, we throw the spikes that Porcupine has on its back. Once a spike sinks on the flesh, it opens up inside the flesh and it cannot be pulled without making huge damage. We know in our lives when we say things we don't want to say, when we do actions we regret afterwards. This is a porcupine on a defensive, because the vulnerable side of the porcupine is its underbelly. And when we feel that others reach our underbelly, when we feel vulnerable, when we feel under attack, when we feel that others have reached us where it hurts, then we react. And that is the opposite of innocence, because innocence tells us that there is no pain if we trust. And we are in a new beginning. This month of June brings a huge new beginning, started in May. But for us to be innocent, like trusting children, we need to have created and established a foundation, like a gorilla standing on four, strong. If we have not been doing our work, it is very difficult to trust. This is why we live in fear. I pick up a new card in order to see what it is that we need to do, or what strategy we need to use for us to trust. Vulture comes out to tell us that we need to heal. When vulture eats corpses, it prevents the bacteria from spreading to other animals. Sometimes we just have to contain our pain, digest it. If vulture has 40,000 times the capacity to digest botulism or the harmful bacteria in the corpses, that means that we also have the skills we need, the strength we need in order to digest our painful memories. We need to trust that. If we do that, we move into the next card, which is Panther, in the inner child, in the south position. And so we are at times where people are redirecting, splitting, separating, deciding in which direction to go. The war has brought two kinds of positions to light. One is those who choose love. The other one is those who choose suppression, submission, control, overpowering. We can't march forward together as one if one has more rights than another. If one has all the rights and another has no rights. So the panther stands in the silence, listening, watching, not being seen, preparing, ready to pounce, ready to attack. This brings to mind that we need to be able to observe without being observed. That means we have to do our own work at home, in the silence of our meditation, in order for us to perceive reality as it is, not as other people paint it, in order for us to touch our inner heart core that tells us what the truth really is. With that, we can march forward in the adventure of the world, in the adventure of a life, based on the innocence of porcupine and the strong muscles and nocturnal abilities of the panther. And as we move towards the west, which is the time of physical work, the house of creating, manifesting, whatever it is that we are working on, we have salamander. Salamander hides under the rock. It doesn't like the sun. It doesn't like to be the center of the attention. It doesn't like to stand out. because it needs cool shadow so that its skin is always wet, so that it can breathe, so that it's not too dry. Then, like a salamander with the ability of losing its style, growing it again, think that if you get in trouble, just cut your losses and move forward. Move fast. You are able to breathe in the water and on the earth. You are able to live in 2 dimensions. You are able to live in the fluidity of the water and in the dryness of the air. So Salamander tells you to hide a little bit if you are hurt, to wait for your child to be grown again. And in the meantime, in the silence, hide away from the light, hide away from the sun, in the shadow, and do your thinking. You can see that this month of June is asking us to stay inside and do a lot of meditation, a lot of thinking. It's the only way for us to discover our strengths, to discover where we can be strong, and to find our own rhythms. Many will say, you are strange, you don't function like the others. And now the question is, how do others function? By looking at each other? By being the same as everybody else? We do not want to do that. We need to tap into our own inner moon. Remember that we're just having a very powerful solar eclipse on the 15th of May. And from that, there is a lot springing out. In the north, I get rose-breasted grosbeak, which is a lot of pain in the heart, a lot of poison that needs to come out, that needs to be cleared, that needs to be looked at face to face. This will allow us to recreate our future, but we need to go through the night before getting into the dawn. We will undergo a rebirth whether we like it or not. We will feel pain whether we like it or not. We need to feel that pain and allow it to go, allow it to proceed, allow it to flow, and let it transmute so that we can be reborn. We can be successful, we can be true, we can be real. The magic will only come to us when we are real. The ability to pounce when the opportunity comes will only be steady and stable when we are real. So, for June 2022, we must shed another layer of skin. Like a snake, it is mandatory, necessary that we are courageous enough to look at the pain, look at the origin of our pain, heal it like vulture, trust that we are able to digest it, create a foundation not based on illusion, not based on a lie. We need to look at who we are, because if we do not, we will continue to move forward in quicksand. And the result, obviously, is that we will sink. So, it's a lot of energy here that is telling us that we need to find our real self. That is a work that will be successful, but it's a work we have to do ourselves individually, in the silence of our thoughts, in the silence of our meditation. Nobody knows what it is that is going on inside ourselves. But we need to be steady in the work, and we need to make sure that we don't hide away from it or run away from it. Face it, be courageous, and let's go through this transition, hopefully coming out all in one piece. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next reading.